if I have any kind of an issue or question, he will always address it. He will always ask, or he'll always be the one to make sure that, whatever's going on is clear between, anything that might occur between me and his mom. So, and like I said, she's great. So I don't have issues with her. But so again, make sure that you've cleared the air, especially if there are children involved. He's not a mama's boy, but he never voiced his opinion in his family, so it was hard when I voiced my own. Yeah, that's hard. And so Tamara, are you saying that you voiced your opinion to his family when you didn't feel like you were being heard by him, or when he didn't want to take the role to, like, defend you, I guess? His mother was the ruler of his house, which is common in a lot of, black homes. So his mother played a very dominant role, and so he was more so just did what was told, it sounds like. Is that the kind of role that, not to get too personal, but is that the role that he plays in your marriage? Is he more of like quiet, doesn't like to communicate as much? I hope it's not too personal. Okay, and so then you're the one that's usually starts communication, starts conversations. Anytime there's an issue, you're the one that brings it up. You're the one that wants to address it. Okay, yeah. So in that type of a relationship, it is a little bit harder for the husband to have to take a stand. But as his wife, I want to say that it's you made sure he didn't what? Oh, sorry, I'm confused. What I was going to say, as his wife, it's great. It is great that you recognize this in your husband, because now you know how to pray for him and how to help him. So you wanted him to have a voice, yeah, because you love him. You don't want him to be picked on, or you don't want him to be just go with the okie doke. You want him, you love him, you want to protect him. In a sense, as your husband, you want to protect him. But this, now that you know how he is with his family in your marriage, this is a great place for you to pray for him. This is a great area for you to pray for him. Good. Much more vocal now. Good. Yeah. Because he I don't know if you have kids, but in the husband's role in, a godly marriage, he should be the one that's making some of the more significant decisions in the family. When there's communication that needs to happen, he should be the one that initiates in most cases. But I think it's great that, like I said, that you recognize this in him, and that you're going to be praying for him, or have been praying for him. Clearly, God's been working on this part of him. I think that, when it comes to situations in the future down the road that will require you to have some that are difficult family-wise. So if you have another encounter with his family where it's uncomfortable for you, and you know that he needs to address it, that's the perfect time for you to say, look, this is still happening, or now this is happening, and I really need you to say something. I know we've been kind of working on this, and I know it's hard, but I don't want to have to, it puts me in a hard spot when I have to tell your mom XYZ. Or when no, this is good, Tamara, thank you. You have to tell him, it puts me in a hard spot when I have to tell your sister, your mother, your father that I don't like how they're talking to me. It puts you in it, because you're automatically on the defense. Whereas if your husband were to address it, he's sort of like the mediator, if you will, and they know that he loves them, and he knows that they love him. So the communication is softened. It's softer, and there isn't automatically this guard that they're going to put up and say, well, what do you have to come say to me now? They're not automatically guarded when he addresses the issue with them. So as these things come up, and they will, in marriage they do, as they come up, make sure that you continue to encourage him to talk to his parents about these kinds of things. Because if he doesn't, it's gonna his lack of taking this leadership role, or this more strong role, will increasingly be visible in other areas of your marriage. You know, other decisions that you have to make, you'll find yourself having to make them sort of in a silo or in a vacuum, you know, because you feel like you can't help but feel like, gosh, he's not giving me anything. He's not, you know, he's not, I can't rely on him to give me a strong, you know, answer, a strong support. So just make sure as you continue that you continue to pray for him and continue to give him these opportunities to take a stand, to, you know, be more assertive for himself, for you, for the marriage. So when it comes to the point where you are now, so now you've addressed it with your husband has addressed it with his family, and you're now in a setting where you're talking to the family about the issue, and it doesn't have to be some big family sit down. It could be you guys go out to a restaurant, you have coffee, whatever, and you just talk about things. You want to talk with them in a way that you're putting yourself in their shoes. You know, you're putting yourself in the role of a mom who has a son who she loves. She's loved him since the day he was born, and now he's no longer her little son. You know, he's no longer the child that she raised. He's has a whole family of his own that he's responsible to and responsible for. So you have to enter the conversation with that in mind. Or if the issue is with the sister, the same thing. Someone that she's grown up with her whole life, someone that's seen her on the good days and the bad. You know, you have to put yourself in that position before you can start having a conversation with these people, these family members, in a reasonable way. So, and you want to make sure that you listen. You want to make sure that you listen to the words that they're using so that you understand where this anger or where this animosity that you're feeling comes from. You know, a lot of times you're not the target. It's just you happen to be there. So listen, and also listen from a place of putting yourself in their shoes, so that you can respond better. Thanks, Soraya. So, and I feel like that's something that we should do just in general communication. You know, should always be thinking of others and thinking about, you know, why they're saying what they're saying. We all have different life experiences. No two people have walked the same steps. So when you come into marriage, your husband has had a whole different life experience than you have. And his family has had a whole different life experience than you have. So when they speak to you, they're speaking from a whole different life experience. The same for you. You're speaking to them from a whole different life experience. And so you're trying to understand each other. You make some decisions based on your life experience, just as they make decisions based on their life experience. One example, before we finish, to that point is when I got married, when I grew up, we didn't have a lot of money. You know, when we had ice cream, we would just get the biggest spoon in the utensil drawer and like scoop ice cream, you know, from the ice cream container. And so when we got married, and this is something that it's just so funny to me because I completely nothing registered whatsoever at all, right? So when we got married, we had ice cream, and we had ice cream scoopers, but I would get the ice cream out, find the biggest spoon in the drawer, scoop the ice cream scooper out the way, get the biggest spoon in the drawer, and start scooping my ice cream. And my husband was like, why are you bending up all the spoons? Why are you bending up the spoons? We have an ice cream scooper. And honestly, you guys, I saw the ice cream scooper, but it didn't even register that maybe you should use the ice cream scooper to scoop the ice cream. The ice cream, you know what I mean? I just had been doing it so long. My life experience had been scooping ice cream with the biggest spoon I could find, you know? And so he thought that I was just doing that just to do it. Like I just was being defiant, you know, at first. And then I explained to him, I was like, John, like, no, like I please trust that I'm not trying to make you upset, that I'm not trying to be like, you know, funny about anything. That's just how I've been doing things, you know, and that really hit a trigger for him. It made him realize that just because he grew up a certain way doesn't mean everyone else grew up a certain way. Doesn't mean I grew up a certain way. And it was something so simple, something as simple as a big spoon versus an ice cream scooper that made him realize that when you're handling your mate, when you're handling your spouse, you have to do so from a place where you're putting yourself in their shoes as much as you can, of course, and that you're understanding and listening. We should never be jumping to the conclusion that somebody is just trying to be harmful to you or trying to get on your nerves. That should never be the case. And so that we laugh at it now because it's funny, but it was such a good learning experience for us very early on in our marriage to understand, a little bit more about how our experiences form who we are. So that was it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful for you guys. Thanks so much, Tamara, for sharing your story and sharing kind of what you're going through, what you go through with these types of relationships, marital relationships, in-law relationships. Thank you, everyone. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, different topic. So thanks for tuning in. See you then. Bye.